What is going on, guys? Welcome to today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed all the Power Cruise content. We had so much fun. It was such an epic event. And I'm gonna do some maintenance on the wagon today. And as far as we're aware, the thing drove on the trailer the same way it freaking came off the trailer on the Thursday, which is extremely exciting because we gave the old girl a hiding, especially in Dream Team, which was insanely fun. But one thing that we did notice was it didn't exactly want to rev in Sunday's Dream Team, which is the same issue that we're having at Summer Now. It's the same yada, 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 yada. So we're going to assume that when in the burnout, when I did my massive tip in and it half pulled out my shutoff valve, we're going to assume that that really upped the pressure of the mechanical fuel pump because there's less fluid or less of the dash 12 where the fuel's flowing has now been effectively turned into a dash 6. And we're going to assume that the mechanical fuel pump is still sucking just as hard, so it's creating insane pressure, which then means anything that is in the system, any like gunk or muck or anything that's in the tanks, anything in the fuel system is going to be shot straight to either the filters or, like the issue that we were having, it's stuck in the nozzles. So I'll pull all the nozzles down. This is the type of maintenance you would do after any event anyways. Pull all the nozzles off. I'm gonna lubricate them, blow them out, clean everything out in the fuel system, probably even drop the fuel as well that's left in it. And yeah, probably do the oil as well. I noticed that the belt only came, that's still reasonably loose, but I was really worried that on this fitting just here off the water pump, that the belt was going to hit it and shred the belt, but we never managed to do that, so that's pretty good. And that's with a lot of hiding, so I didn't adjust it at all during the weekend. And the thing is, with this design of tensioner, they never quite sit still. Like no matter how tight you do them, no matter where you put them, they always seem to like drop down. That could be an easy solution by using a different bracket or different style, but I freaking love the way these look. And it is very common for them to start swinging down when you either have a lot of load or a lot of RPM. After Brashnats, this thing, it comes so much that like you could shake the belt probably 10 times more than that. You could probably just pull it off with your finger. And obviously just wasn't up tight enough. So I'll retighten that, probably try and crank the absolute living crap out of it. And also one of our thermo fans is busted. It just stopped working on the Dream Team run on Sunday. The car did get pretty warm, but it was only for 10 seconds. It wasn't for a minute or more of limiter bashing and a burnout. So once it started getting real hot, that happened to be when the tires were pretty much done. So I drove off I drove off the track. So it worked perfectly with it. Now, in saying that, I've had a lot of people that have asked, why did we get off it so quick, more or less? Every time we did a Dream Team run, we only made it one way down the track, where others will go down and then back up. The biggest thing is, especially with these burnout cars that have real low diff gears, the track is so coarse up at Queensland Raceway on that main straight. I think Kyle was saying that it's like an open pore, like it's porous, so that like when it rains, it can filter through a little bit better and it's not going to puddle on the track. And he said that just absolutely decimates tires. So a brand new set of tires legitimately lasts 20 to 30 seconds. And there is two major rules that you cannot break when not only on the cruise route at Power Cruise, but in Dream Team. Nikki and Gup gave us two major rules we could not break, and if we broke those, you're off the track for the entire weekend. Not because of what they're trying to do, but because of just what the track owner is, because he wants to keep the thing mint. Rule number one, do not touch the grass. If you touch the grass and you are still on the loud pedal, you're gone for the weekend. And then rule number two is don't get your tires off. If you get your tires off and you're still driving, rim bashing on the track, you're gone with like a 12-month ban or something, which is understandable because it's a really nice racetrack. So as you can see, every single time we went down the track, I'd stop at the end, I'd celebrate to the crowd, and then we'd check the tires. And every time we were very good, especially on the Saturday when Benny was in the car. It's a very good thing that we got out and checked the tires because they were way past belts. They literally had a second left in them. So I was trying to do the right thing, make a good impression for Power Cruise because I would freaking love to be on Dream Team full time. So trying to make a good impression, follow the rules and be a good little boy. And that meant keeping the tires on and staying off the grass, which is what we did all weekend. So that's a definite tick and a definite tick. And the other thing is I've seen a couple people being like, oh, he's on the brake the whole time, get off the bloody brake. That track is, it's pretty thin. It's not like Sydney where you can go full send. You can still go full send, but you just got to dial it back a little bit because the track's not as wide as it looks. And as I said to one person in a comment that was like, oh, I think he was saying that the brake pads were going to wear out if I was on the brake any harder. I did comment in it saying that my really crappy little brake pedal trigger that triggers the brake pedal lights, it's broken. So at the moment, if the car has power, the brake lights are on. As soon as I put the isolator switch in, the brake lights are on. So I'm going to change that because I hate being known as the guy that just sits on the brake. But even to prove it, I'll bloody show you. So at the moment, as is, if I leave this back here, as soon as I put, like, if I just push this, it'll give the car power. Brake lights come on, off. Brake lights come on, off. So when I give the car power, and you can always tell if the car has power because those buttons light up. The car has power, the brake lights are on, which really does suck. I didn't think it was going to be much of a muchness kind of thing because I was like, having brake lights stuck on is better than having no brake lights. But in return, everyone thinks you're being a bitch and you're pretty much just sitting on the brake. So got to fix that little switch, that little trigger, which shouldn't be too hard to fix. But enough jibber jabbering. Let's get some maintenance done on this big bitch. So what I'm doing here is just pulling all the fittings off of the K-valve or barrel valve, however you want to say it. Always hard to do one hand. Alright, so that one's obviously a return. So both dash 6s are a return, so you can't f them up, and then you got a dash 8 feed. This is probably going to, are you going to drip? Nah, you'll be fine. So I'll pretty much pull the hose off the hose off the back of here. I'll lubricate everything in here. Obviously, like, open the hat and everything, because when you open that, let shit through. I wish you could see in there, that'd be cool. But that's pretty much what controls what's coming through. I wonder if when I pull this hose off, you'll be able to see it. But I'll do that, blow it all through, and then we'll pull all of these off too. So these are the actual jets that then go into the nozzles, which spray the fuel. And this controls how much comes through it. So if I look up to the light of that, yes, I don't know if you can see, yep, right there. You can see through it. That means it's not blocked. That one's good to go. So all of those were mint. They were all clean. They were all clear. So they're put back in now. Now what I do, grab the air gun. I'll pull this off the hat one by one. I'll fill it with like WD-40 or a lubricant spray. And then I'll go through one by one. If I can get in there. Can you see it? It's too hard to do it one-handed. But I'll blow one by one through these so that it shoots through there. So that lubricant goes through everything, but then also I can see that that all of the lines are free and nothing's blocked them. Then I'll come over here and you've got the actual nozzles inside the hat. I will then come up. This makes a good seal over the end of the jet. Give it a spray. And then if you put your finger, these tiny little holes, if you put your finger over it, and when you're pumping air through it, if it sucks on your finger and has vacuum, that means that they're clear and they're good to go. You never pull the actual nozzles out of the hat because you're gonna run into issues there. So all of the fuel lines to the hat are clear. All of the nozzles are clear. All of the jets are clear. Now we move on to this filter just here. And then we'll probably do the one at the back of the car too, the big one. And then the fuel system is pretty much ready to go. I'll then also pull the plugs out. I'll spray some lubricant down the hat. I'll turn the engine over backwards. Any engine that has a mechanical fuel pump, you've got to turn the engine over backwards. Otherwise, you'll very slowly just continuously pull fuel up into the engine. And if you don't realize it and you flood it, you'll end up hydroing it and bending a rod. So we'll do it that way. Or if not, seems as though those fuel lines aren't connected anyways, I can turn it over whichever way I really want. And if you want to see something crazy, if you open up the hat, see how it's yellow all through the hat, and then you got bits of red. On the Saturday, it was purple or pink and blue, but the last set of tires we did was yellow. Look how much of the dye stains everything. Now, obviously, you haven't got anything in here because it's not sucking in air, but in here, like, look at that. Look how yellow everything is in there. Just goes to show how freaking toxic. Oh, you can see a bit of residue there on the outside of the butterfly too. But just goes to show you how bloody toxic the colored smoke is. And theoretically, that's just a dye. So that's just showing you what you normally wouldn't see with an ordinary tire. So you're always inhaling crap. And other than the gauze filter that we have just here, which you can probably see if I do this, I think you can see that. That gauze filter, that's only to stop shit. If it goes in there or you have an asshole that puts a freaking bolt in there or something like that, which has happened. That has happened. Not to me, but previously. It's just to stop any massive contaminants going in there. But it's not an actual filter that will stop anything or filter the air that's going in. So if you've ever stood right next to the pad and you can feel that rubber in the air, the rubber that lands on your skin and stains you, more or less this engine is just sucking that in. So normally when we change the oil, you'll find a lot of black shit in it and you're like, oh no, what's that? And you realize it is literally rubber. So yeah, just more mechanically injected good stuff. So this is the 100 micron filter that goes in the Dash 8 feed that goes to the hat. It looks brand new, pretty much mint. Normally you can see, I wonder if there's, oh yeah, you can see tiny bit just down here. It like methanol kind of crystallizes and goes gunky. That's literally it in the whole filter. I've pulled out that back filter once and it was clogged shut. So that still looks bloody mint. All right, throw that back in the car now. All right, now we'll pull on plugs. And if you want to see something freaking crazy, these plugs have done all the power crews beforehand when we were changing the idle, when we were doing a bunch of other stuff, and look at that. They look like they're brand new. All of them are like that. It's freaking crazy. Methanol life. If you were to pull these out directly after you'd started it, you'd probably see some shit on them from the petrol that we use to start the car. But yeah, the methanol just cleans them off. They look bloody brand new. All right, now I'm just gonna spray a bunch of this down the hat, heaps of it, and then I'll just hit the starter, push it over. Anything left in the engine will just get pushed out of the spark plug holes. And yeah. All right, so we sprayed it full. Come in here, hit the start button. You can see the oil pressure rising. Dunzo. How crazy does it sound when it's got no compression and it's just turning? Sounds good, but. And I think we finally nailed that starter because now it just comes and goes perfectly. Alrighty, what next? I think we're going to change out this throttle cable because this is the original throttle cable from the old setup, and it's a cut to length one, and it was cut to length for when this was more like here kind of thing, so that like literally that was full throttle, so that the blades only open that much. But now that we've blocked off one, we want to be able to use full throttle, wide open blades. But because of where I've cut this, if you pull this directly perpendicular down, that's as much as we can get. So that's wide open full throttle at the moment. Whereas I want to be able to get it so that I can use the whole freaking thing. So Mr. Brad Gallant, yet again, well, I was talking to him and I was explaining what I wanted to do. And he was just like, boom, you've got a new throttle cable on the way to you, fix it when you can. So I was like, alrighty, cool. So we'll go chuck that in now. It's going to be a little bit of a pain, but not too much of a pain, but we'll get there. We'll figure it out. Alrighty, so I'm only just editing this now, and I don't know what happened to that last clip. It's just gone. Maybe it didn't record. I don't know. I don't know where it went. But I changed over that throttle cable, and now I have an insanely long throw on the throttle, on the pedal. So I'm going to have to see how that feels, because I feel like when, you normally put your heel on like the floor of the car and pivot to use the accelerator, it's so freaking long now that you have like a massive window. It may make it awesome because I'm going to have like insane throttle control capabilities. I don't know, but we're just gonna have to see how it goes. But yeah, I'm gonna sign out here. Catch you guys in the next one, which will be next week, probably Tuesday, probably 6 p.m. If you're new here, consider subscribing. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell so you get notifications every time we upload. And we have a merch drop coming very soon. So if you're keen for that, tell us what you'd love to see in the comments. Because I know that you guys love being able to support us. And when you guys buy merch, that gets us even more events. And Queensland is the first event we've been to so far, and we want to go all over Australia. So having your guys' support with that kind of stuff is absolutely incredible, and that's what gets us out there. Alrighty, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy. See you later. Peace.
You bitching and bugging, there's nothing that we got in common. I've been out grinding and hustling, investing this paper, got tired of eating that ramen. All of my music be heat, I ain't missing a beat. I've been blessed with impeccable